We're back again at the Paris House restaurant at the chef's table with Alan Murchison, and we're now, Alan, we're going to taste a couple of red wines. I've got an old world Gevrey Chambertin Pinot Noir, nice little overtones of mushroom and then a little bit of plum. And then from the New World, I've got this Gem Tree Vineyards McLaren Vale Shiraz. It's their Tiger's Eye Shiraz, and it's going to be what I call slap in the face Shiraz. Lots of body, lots of tar, everything going on. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
I love Aussie Shiraz, first of all. It's one of my favourite reds. I love the fact that it's got very, very bold flavours, and I like the sort of spicy pepperiness you get with a lot of those wines. And I think I've got a dish that's going to work very well with that. The Chambertin's a slightly different one because obviously it varies greatly from vintage to vintage. So I've got a lamb dish with that I think is going to work quite well.
Perfect. Shall I pour away?
Yes, please.
We'll have a look. So this is 2006 Gevrey Chambertin. It's from their old vines, so 45-year-old vines, single domain Heretstein, and 06 was a lovely year. It didn't produce very big, beefy style wines, produced very angular, very classical style. I've just opened these, so it's going to take a little time to evolve in the glass, but I think with these lovely big glasses, it's going to aerate quite well. Oh, now mine's just coming alive. I've got that lovely sort of, sour plum on the nose.
It says it's a lovely nose on it. I think the other thing that's going to work very well with this, the meat I've chosen here is lamb. And obviously lamb has got an element of fat to it as well. We're doing that with just a few dried tomatoes. What we do with the tomatoes is we dry them in the oven overnight just to reduce the water content and increase the sweetness. So again, from this point of view, you've got the sweetness of the tomato. It's going to cut through the richness of the lamb and the fat. And I think with that wine as well, this meat's still quite light and it's still quite early in the lamb season. So that's quite a light piece of red meat. Should work quite well with that.
Brilliant. And over the top?
Just a little bit of the lamb jus. Now the lamb jus is made up using white wine as opposed to red wine because again you've got that level of acidity and you've got the tannin in the red wine which quite often can murder a meat like this which is quite early in its season. So if it was a braised piece it would work, but we use white wine, garlic, onion, tomato, so all quite light, elegant flavours, and you'll find that the lamb will stand up to that quite nicely.
Interesting, very interesting. So I'll have a little taste of this. What I love about the Pinot Noir grape is you touched on that tannin bit. You tend to have very light, easy tannins. Thank you very much.
Yes, well that is something that can quite often murder a meat like lamb.
That lovely sweet, sour relationship of the tomato with it, it's beautiful. And that sets off against the fat in the lamb, I agree. Delicious. Let's see what this wine does with it. Well, that's a marriage made in heaven, isn't it?
We had a bit of luck there.
Oh, that is heaven, isn't it? You've got that nice sort of toastiness on the back with almost a sort of mushroom middle, you know, what the Americans call forest floor, that sort of rotting down fruit, the middle of the Pinot Noir, and that just goes beautifully with that tomato richness. It's a very nice combination.
But that's also got quite a clean finish. Nice as that. They both work quite well together.
Yeah, they don't clash at all, do they? Nope. They marry beautifully. And Pinot Noir, from anywhere in the world, in fact, New World or even Old World, is a lovely marriage with lamb, isn't it?
Very
so that
nice.
freshness, you've got the sweetness of the fruit, but the acidity that's inherent in the wine carries it through. Delicious.
Very good, that.
Great choice. Right. On to something a little more.
Okay. So telling you how to do your job, my understanding of Shiraz is big, ballsy flavours, peppery, spicy. This time of year, not really in keeping with a lot of the food that we would normally do, I would say.
It's tricky, isn't it? You're dead right. I mean, you know, the old world name for Shiraz is Syrah, the grapes from the southern Rhone. So you're thinking of, I don't know, well, Côte de Rhone in its basic form, but great big sort of rich dark wines, Côte Rôtie and alike. Here in Australia, they sometimes cut it with a little bit of Viognier, the white grape variety, which gives it a softness. It has peachy overtones of Viognier. But here we've got just one big glass of straight Shiraz, and I agree, funny time of year to be doing it. However, with barbecue season in a way,
could work well.
It does work quite well there,
It's
doesn't it?
almost smoky flavours. What percentage alcohol's in that?
Oh, I know, we should go there.
Smells quite...
We're at my top end, 14.5.
You can tell, can't you?
You really can. And one of my problems here is I don't, you know, once you've got to 14 and a half, you really are pushing the bounds, aren't you? Because you're talking about sitting down and trying to make one glass see you through dinner. because it's just too much otherwise.
It is. So what I've got here is two different cuts of beef. We've got actually the braised rib of beef, and we've got then a little bit of sirloin, but we're also going to richen this up. We've got some bone marrow and snails in a very rich sauce here. Now, this has got depth of flavour. This is probably the strongest meat dish that we run in the summer. I would say winter, you know, autumn, winter months, good venison dish, parsnip puree, blackberry, something like that. This time of year, what I've gone for is the braised rib of beef, which has got very full flavour to it, quite a high fat content, and then an almost sweet and sour effect with the shallots and the bone marrow. Again, bone marrow being very rich, and there's a couple of snails thrown in there as
And
well.
what does a snail bring to the party?
I love snails with beef. I don't know what it is about snails. It's the texture of that with the braised meat. I don't know, I just think it's got a lovely earthy flavour. Again, a snail on its own doesn't taste of much, so when you put it in with the shallots and the red wine, it just kind of works.
And gives you the texture. I mean, it's a very attractive dish, isn't it? I must admit.
You try this. Try and mix it all
Go on.
together. But the other thing that's going to work very well with this is you need something to cut through these big, big flavours. Very tough call at this time of year.
It does look very good. That is very good. That is very good. The richness of the bone marrow really marries up very nicely against that Shiraz, because they've both got that very grilled flavour about them, haven't they?
They have. That's almost, the texture of that's almost like sort of barbecued ribs, which we're saying barbecue season. The other thing they've got in there is one of the really very strongest herbs you can get is tarragon. So you'll get that earthiness coming through there. I don't know if you can get the tarragon coming through. It's almost like an aniseed flavour in there. Bit of tarragon right at the end again. That will stand up to a wine of this sort of magnitude, because it's a big wine.
And you got, as you say, you got sort of the dual textures going on in there as well.
Yeah.
And when you get, we were talking with the white wines, elements of texture, and here you've got two very different textures going on again, haven't you? The lightness of the Pinot Noir, and then with the Shiraz, you've got almost a sort of, it's a silky, rich flavour, sort of knit together, just like that dish is knit together as well, beautifully. And you say, then you've got this spicy nose, and it is sort of herb-like, and now I'm getting the herbs.
A little bit of herb.
They're coming on together, and that herbiness on the nose fits very nicely together. What a sensational combination. But I agree, you wouldn't want to be doing that in August, I don't think.
No, you wouldn't. I could quite happily have a big bowl of this braised beef ribs, glass of that, mashed potato
Oh,
would be there.
yeah, then you need to go and lie down. Delicious, great combination. Thank you very much, Alan.
No problem.
Sensational.